Okay. Hey, DCP. Hey, Rob. I'm doing alright. Bit tired, but, you know, it happens. I'm starting to feel that given that this wing is under construction, I'm not going to be finding any loot down here. So I should probably head back upstairs if I want to keep looting. Oh, did I speak too soon? I may have spoken too soon. Or maybe not. Now all the loot is upstairs. Oh shit. Right, back the way we came. Yeah. So far, my stream is already a little more stable than my last attempt. Are you talking actual hyenas, or... Ooh, that is a thing that I want. That I somehow missed coming through here the first time. Right. I need to steal some more valuables. Let's see. Over here, what do we have? We have... worthless... and nothing in the others. I suppose I looted it. People making way too much noise at early points of the morning are always annoying. Okay. And I believe that this is the last item. If I can just get it to say it's worth again. There we go. Yeah. And there we go. And I should probably stop stealing or I'm going to set off an alarm. But with the karma gain, I should probably see if I can spend it on anything. Yeah, hyenas make sort of... it's not so much a laugh as a horrific cackling noise. It's kind of fascinating, actually. Yeah. Not worth it. There's enemies up there. And corpses and an item. Ah, yes, hyper tired. That is actually the term. When you become so absolutely fucking exhausted that you come right back around to being awake. Alright. It's fucking awful. I've been in that state before, and it's not a state that I ever want to feel again. If only it were just Skaven. Or rather, if only it were Skaven. No. No, fucking... Fucking bullshit. Let's try this again. I mean, I've told the horrific story of a Wake-a-thon before, haven't I? That was a personal one. Where, I had the horrible misfortune of agreeing to join Sean in a horrible thing called a Wake-a-thon, which was just it was just a bad idea. It was just a completely terrible idea. And I have no idea why any of us thought it was a good plan. Actually, no, I know exactly why we thought it was a good plan. We were stupid fucking middle schoolers. That's why we thought it was a good plan. Oh shit. That was close. Hey, Captain Dynamite. Okay, that was... Okay, where is my goal? Okay. Does anything monitor that section? Yes, that one does. Nope, 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 nope. Okay. Deciphered spells. Probably useless to me, given that I don't really use magic. Oh, goody. I think you mentioned that one, DCP. Yeah. And it had to be cancelled because it was fucking horrific. That sounds quite a bit like a Wake-a-thon. Oh, what? Oh shit, you got that one wrong. Oh fuck. What? No, that was... No! That wasn't wrong. Hey, Asup. That... Ugh. That sucked. Okay. Let's see... Fuck, should I try and go for the spells, or is that a terrible plan? I get the feeling that that's a terrible plan. Nope. Too late. That was incredibly hard, and I hate this, but... Okay, right. Oh, it's only system trace on a complete failure. Okay. I'm going to pour myself a cup of tea before I begin. And hope that my caffeinated beverage helps calm my nerves. Slightly off. Did I forget? Oh, please tell me I didn't forget to rinse it out before... I washed my teapot before making tea, and I think I may have forgotten to rinse it out and left soap in it. I disappoint myself. Okay. I will give it... Yeah. Send it to stash. Okay, and now I have to get back out. Fuck. Fucking hell. No. Are you kidding me? Bull fucking shit. I'm just leaving. Because that was unfair. Yeah. Soulstorm Brew? What is that? I'm just looking back at the, chat for a moment. You know. Yes, I'm too far away to be reliably hit. This is the best of situations. And no one will ever know, except for whoever comes in and checks the system tomorrow morning. Okay. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that I need to go fight that thing. I think I can get my team up to around here-ish. Can I get a reliable shot? Not really. Let's see. Let's try here. There we go. That's enough for, ranged. At least I think so. There we go. That's even better. Hey, random. Yeah, sometimes YouTube just feels like not notifying people. Isn't that great? Nice. Okay. Woo. Get behind this. Firepower round. Huh. I think I'm gonna save that. Isabel, get back here. And Gobbet. Fuck. There, and bump up Duncan's aim. Burst on the gargoyle. Nice. Okay, and a single shot on the mummified corpse. Let's see, heal. Everyone's fine right now, huh? Okay, cool. Just burst fire on the corpse. Oh shit. Okay, this might be a problem. Well, the corpse is low already, but that gargoyle is fucking scary. So, let's go and shoot the gargoyle. Firepower round on the gargoyle. And let's go with Gobbet first. Get her out of the way. Summon the spirit. Punch the gargoyle in its fucking face. And I'll just go back to the pistol, if there's only one target. Wait. What? There's another level? That would have been good to know. Okay. Let's start by taking out the spiked knuckles. Okay, which does more damage? Damage 9. Damage 8. Yeah, let's go with a burst. Those things are kind of starting to swarm Isabel, but I can get her out of there. So let's take down the corpse. And that corpse. Yeah, get the hell out of there. And it's just back up here now. Okay. Interesting. Okay, and time for a punch. Alright, and now I'm going to make a run for that. For that, oh, come on. No. There we go. And put him on Overwatch. It's not letting me. I don't know why, but it's not letting me. Load. I don't think she has it unlocked. Oh, it's because he's on full auto. That's why. I'll bump Duncan's aim. I have not played PUBG at all. So I can't really say whether or not I like it. Has anyone been hurt at all? I think she and Duncan have. Just... fucking hell. Come on. Where did you come from? Oh. It just died. Your comlink crackles. You got the books. Great. Next you need to head upstairs so I can wipe the security data. Then you're home free. Did you know these creatures were here? No. I planned this run down to the last detail, but those monsters were a happy accident. Great. I'll keep my eyes open for more happy surprises. You do that. Now time's wasting. Security room's at the top of the stairs leading back to the museum, back into the museum floor. Fucking great. Abso-fucking-lutely great. Yeah, I know PUBG has a fuck ton of issues, refuses to fix any of them, and is supposedly out of early access. There's much better arena shooter. Hell, there's much better battle royale style games. A cadaverous husk materializes in front of you, unfolding like a flower from nothingness into being. It stands with a surprisingly upright posture, and you can see that its robes were once of fine quality. It raises a hand to block your path. Stop. The thing's voice comes out in a hollow rasp. Something about it feels empty. It seems you can move freely through this realm, coming and going, taking what is not yours. What do you want? Ah, a man of action. Good. Siege is fun. I do, in fact, I actually have Siege, and, I finally finished up 3-starring all of the, situations on realistic difficulty. I was difficult as fuck. I want out of this tomb. I must free myself from this place, but I cannot leave. My soul is bound to these catacombs, chained to the bones of a life that I no longer possess. The hell's happening down here? The books that you carry, they are alive. They protect themselves, distort space, and draw creatures to them who will serve. Our Exalted had the will to contain them wherever you intend to send them. I hope that an equally strong mind will keep them under control. See, do you think I can get you out of here somehow? You can. Slowly, painfully, the mummy inclines its head, reaches into the folds of its robe, and produces a ring of fired porcelain. The creature extends its arm, presenting the object as an offering. Take this talisman and place it among the other artifacts you have removed. Once you have moved it beyond the binding threshold of this excavation, I will be free. Say that I do this. What's in it for me? The sure knowledge that you have done what is right. How do I know that I can trust you? There's a long pause. You don't. How could you? But I am a man of my word. You're gonna have to do better than that. When I am free, I will give you a thing, a token. Crumble it in your hands, and I will come to your aid. But only once. One time, and no more. The mummy's eyeless sockets seem to stare into you, through you. Will this be sufficient, troll? Will you accept my offer? Ah, fuck it. Why not? Forever in my debt and will only help me once. Nice. Huh. All the Amnesia games for free. I might check that out. I think I have Dark Descent, but I've also never played it, and it's not really my thing, really. Right. The security thing should be in here. If you're in the market for new books, I'd highly recommend, I would recommend the, Tanith First and Only books. Those are very good, especially if you like 40K and the, Imperial Guard. Terminal's powered off. This is the one. Flip the switch on the bottom right, then plug in my data chip. The script will doctor the security logs so we can sneak out. So we can sneak you out. It's executing now. There's a pause. You can hear him clicking his tongue like a metronome. And done. Get out of there. Quill. I'm not getting fucked over. And I actually did the job. I'm getting fucked over. I'm getting very fucked over. Yeah, First and Only was really good. So far, I'm on the Guns of Tanith, and at this point, and it's, you know, still really good. Dan Abnett is the best author that Games Workshop has. Don't seem to want to acknowledge that. Yeah, right. Bump. Oh. Yeah, bump here. Oh, fucking hell. I was really hoping I'd have line of sight here. Oh, I'm gonna have to take out that shotgunner quick. Real quick, like. There is not enough cover here. Okay, let's see. No. There, and heal up Isabel. Oof. You guys really want to get close to... You guys really want to get close to the angry troll? You guys really want to get close to the angry troll. Oh, fucking no, that's not what I wanted to do. I was clicking Gobbet. Why did it move? Fucking hell. Okay. That's one down. And let's go with a lovely full auto burst on him. And one left. Hey, you there. Fuck. Okay. Fuck it. Okay. Okay, let's try. Alright. Up here. Boost Duncan's aim. Oh, not what I wanted to do. Why does it keep doing that? On the plus side, I still did a good amount of damage. Oh yeah, no. I've seen gameplay of E.T. for the Atari. No, it is just one of the biggest messes ever made. There we go. A familiar voice pipes up in your communicator. Change of plans. Search those bodies for a key fob. You'll need it to access the side door. What side door? In the lobby. My program didn't work as well as I'd expected. I've been monitoring the exits on my camera, and the HKPF have the front locked down. Since you can't go out the front now, you've got to exit out the side. That key will get you through the locked side door, which will take you out the east service exit. Okay. Fucking great. I have a sneaking suspicion that this was kind of his plan. Damn it. No. Not fair. Not fucking fair. Okay. Combat. Move in and heal me up. Yeah, I'll take a pot shot. Worked okay. Could have gone better, could have gone worse. Alright, and yeah, no, I honestly don't really want to put Isabel in there at the moment. She is not equipped for that. Yeah, I'm gonna need a med kit. Yeah, I'm really gonna need a med kit. Burst on that motherfucker. And then a regular burst on. Let's see. Nice. And... yeah. Let's just use the basic. And then a quick shot on him. Nope. I've seen some gameplay of Sonic 06. It is both not as bad as you'd expect and still completely unplayable. Okay, right. Damn it, I wish this counted as cover here. I could put her there and... there's just not really any cover for her to use. Why is this not cover? Yeah, I want to get her into cover and have her use that grenade launcher of hers, but there's no cover to put her behind, which is something of an issue, you know? Let's get her just up there. Yeah, no. See you later, random. I have played a bit of the pen and paper RPG. I played a one-shot a very long time ago. But that's about it, honestly. I've been really wanting to play again for a while. Wish I could destroy cover. Hey, I'll take it. Nice. And let's just go with the nice burst against him. One hit and he's dead. Okay. I would much rather just take pot shots at each other from across the room right now. It seems like a much better option when I have two really solid ranged combatants and a grenadier. Okay, gotta move. Okay, got it. Load. Boost. Who does more damage with an assault rifle? 9. And they both do the same. Actually, boost. Duncan's aim. And then Duncan. Take that. Actually, Duncan, move up a little. And take that shot. Oh. I keep hitting that because I just want it to exit. And then it keeps, going all the way back. There we go. Yeah, the system is very clunky. But that's honestly just Shadowrun. Shadowrun is a clunky system and it's wonderful. And people, it's clunky as hell and people love it anyway. Your adrenaline wanes as you fly through the subway tunnels on your way back to Haoi. There isn't much left to do but pick the shards of glass off your clothes and congratulate yourself on one hell of a run. It's just too bad you couldn't keep the looted antiques. By the end, you'd managed to steal over 10,000 new yen worth of items for your client, a number that will hopefully be reflected in your mission pay. The damage you caused will likely set the museum's development back even further. Not enough to cripple the project, just enough to send a message. But at the end of the day, you still managed to break a lot of exhibits, displays, and even faces on a few tomb crawlers, the presence of which had conveniently slipped Drake's mind. Surprises aside, you came out on top. And thanks to some quick thinking on Drake's part, you got the books, and you got out. Nice. See you later, Captain Dynamite. Nice. To spend as I wish. One thing I will also say about the Shadowrun system is I applaud its use of just stats as class determiners, as just sort of outlines of what you might want, rather than just going flat out what's the word? Yeah, well, I'll remember it someday. Right. Territoriality, gain rat totem, destroy spirit, gain rat totem, steal spirit. I think I'll go spiritualist. That seems incredibly powerful. Rector. Auto shotgun could be fun. Or rotary saw. Well, I'm already going melee. Espionage. That seems rather useful. And, yep. Nice. Time to see what my pay is going to be like. Also, I need to... a glaring orc. Fun. A diminutive female orc regards you with a sharp, challenging look. The fierceness of her expression contrasts starkly with her sweet, rounded face and neat bob. She flexes her cyber fists. She fires off a rapid-fire reproach in a thick Filipino accent. Why are you staring like that? Didn't anyone teach you manners? She plants her fists on her leather-clad hips and juts her chin out at you. Relax, didn't mean to stare. She gives you an unwavering sidelong gaze. You're a stranger on my turf. I expect people to be civil to one another. No offense intended. If you insist, sure. I apologize. She blinks, and her jaw unclenches. It's alright. I can tell you're a newcomer. Just feel a little protective of my part of town. The orc looks you up and down. Finally, with a gruff nod, she introduces herself. Rosario Ignacio, or to the members of my community, Cherry Pink. I specialize in transport missions and nanny services, and I occasionally shadow run for walking around money. I can also fry up a mean batch of lumpia, but you can't have any unless I like you. What the hell is lumpia? Filipino spring rolls, crispy and delicious and full of pork, or whatever pork-flavored substitute is on sale. It's important to be frugal. It has suddenly become very important to me that you like me. A corner of her mouth twitches upwards. She gives you a sidelong glance. Then you must earn it. Everybody wants to be my friend because everybody wants lumpia. Only a handful deserve it. Cherry Pink seems like an odd choice for a street name. She glowers at you. It's a bona fide Filipino nickname. Unless you want unless you want a mouthful of fist. What the fuck would a fistful of mouth be? I almost said that, and that's... you'll show it. Or you'll show it respect. Okay. I said you're a nanny. She nods enthusiastically. Look around you. See these shadow runners and dealers of contraband and Johnsons? There's a fair number who have kids, though they wouldn't shout it from the rooftops. It's usually too dangerous to keep family close. That's where I come in. That is a great idea. No, I mean, interesting business model. You got much competition? I wish that there were more. If more people did the things I do, fewer kids would suffer. The orc raises her chin proudly. I've taught children good manners, hygiene, and the proper use of firearms for over 20 years. Yes. Oh. Wait, you teach kids to use weapons? I show them how to use weapons safely. She jabs a finger at you for emphasis. What's dangerous is not explaining their world to them. The shadows, that is. These kids have to grow up fast. Weapons training is appropriate when you're living in a smuggler's den. Makes perfect sense to me. I'm really glad that someone finally gets it. The gut reaction of most people is to deny the danger. The rest seem to think that children are too immature to step up to the challenge. Me, I trust my kids. I don't underestimate them, and they never let me down. How'd you go from babysitting to running the shadows? Her cheeks flush. Well, I used to take care of the children of a woojing bigwig up in the peak. Turned out she was siphoning corporate funds to support both a gambling addiction and an extravagant lifestyle. She got sloppy, and I stumbled across some pretty damning documents as I was tidying the house. I couldn't unsee them, much as I wished it, and I started to fear for my life. She was growing desperate. Erratic. So I ran. Okay. How'd you get your cyberware? There's always been a large community of Filipinos in the shadows. I reached out and they all pitched in to set me up as a shadow runner. Now, whenever I land a good gig, I give most of my earnings away, given back to the community. Do you have any regrets about leaving your old life behind? She looks away suddenly, her eyes moistening. I'm not sentimental about my old post, if that's what you mean. The orc takes a big breath and continues. But on Sundays, my only day off, I used to go and sit with the other nannies and housekeepers. We'd bring pieces of cardboard so we could sit on the ground in the shade under bridges. We'd gossip, eat lumpia and rice cake. Nothing special. But I don't belong to that world anymore. Couldn't risk word getting back to my old employer. I miss my old friends, though. What happened in the Philippines that you can't go back? The Japanese imperial state happened. Supposedly, they've been in charge there for decades. I was just a little girl when they sent their Imperial Marines in. They destroyed my old neighborhood. Don't remember the events, but I still dream of fire to this day. How'd you get out? Half my family fled to the mountains. The other half left the country and eventually scattered all over the globe. Globe. What the fuck is wrong with me tonight? I didn't grow up close to anyone but my parents, who are now gone. Any chance of contacting the ones who stayed? The orc bites her lip. My country's caught up in a struggle between the between the Japanese and Huck resistance, nationalists and neo-anarchists, backed by the dragon Masaru. I couldn't just waltz in and look for family. Besides, they could be barricaded in caves avoiding JIS forces for all I know. Seems like you're pretty resigned about it. She snorts and lifts her chin high. Filipinos are a resilient people. I think the hook will eventually triumph, and if I've got a Filipino community around me, I'm good. Thanks for talking about it anyway. Not many people care enough to bother. Didn't run too far, why not leave Hong Kong? I couldn't go back to Manila because of those JIS scumbags, but there's always been a large community of Filipinos in the shadows. I sought them out. She seems cool. I need to figure out where the weapons merchant is. I am in need of more guns. Anyone who says they aren't in need of more guns is suffering from mental illness. I'm trying to figure out where I was going with that one. I have no idea. I have no idea where I was going with that one. Take another. No, that first taste was wrong. There's no soap in my tea, thankfully. Like most troll bouncers, this man is knotted with muscles, but absent are the myriad scars that come with age or indiscretion. His only blemishes are the bony skin growths common to his kind, and a single deep scar running across his neck and collarbone. You watch yourself in here, or else we check your aerodynamics. How do you mean? Anyone causes trouble, I see how far I can throw them. No fighting, no killing, no sex trade. He lifts an arm, flexing. His muscles jump out like a mass of serpents and steel cabling. His arm is easily as thick as most humans' waists. I don't mess around. Cool. Let's see what's in Club 38. The most immediately noticeable thing about this orc is his immaculately maintained red mohawk and the beard he's busily nursing. He fixes you with a mischievous grin as you approach, touching 2 fingers to his brow in salute. Hey there, Chief. What's crackin'? I know you. Extending his hand, the orc shakes his head. Nah, but you might want to. At least if you need a shaman on your crew. Killuminati Alabrad. At your service. Haven't had a chance to get established in Hong Kong yet. Maybe you can help change that. How'd you know I'm a shadow runner? Kidding me. Everybody around here knows you, knows about you. I guess they don't get a lot of foreigners who move in and immediately start cozying up to the local White Lotus straw sandal. The rest of us have to show up here and hope somebody needs a hired gun. What kind of shaman are you, Kill? The kind with a shotgun and a penchant for bad luck? He lets out a roaring laugh and slaps a hand around his leg. I kill myself. Seriously though, Coyote guides me. It's Coyote-like. He's happy-go-lucky, willing to take life as it comes. You gotta ride the waves and the universe will take care of you, you know? Can't fight what's fated to be. You can bend the rules if you're smart. Coyote likes shamans that are like that. Like me. Like most shamans, I felt his call when I was a teenager. I had been running with a local gang, trying to scrape together enough money not to starve. One day, we were having a dust-up with the Black Hammers, and I just felt this force welled up in me. Next thing I know, their knives just bounced off my skin. Things being what they are, I decided making some real money was in order. I ditched the gang and started hiring myself out to whoever offered the most new yen. It's all I've ever done. I'm good at it. You're not likely to find many better, in fact. Accent sounds North American. Sure is. Born and raised in Federal Way, Seattle Metroplex. Not as bad as the Redmond Barrens, but still a total hellhole. Kinda miss the big gray Northwest. But I guess being swamped by monsoons here in the FVZ is pretty similar. Less acid in the rain, though. Why'd you leave? Things were getting pretty heavy for me. There was a big blowout with the Universal Brotherhood, and a lot of bad magic going on. I decided it'd be better to lay low out here until things calm down. I think I might be here longer than I expected, though. Cash isn't coming as fast as I'd like. What do you think of Haoi? Frankly, I hate it. Walled City gives me the creeps big time. Something seriously wrong with that place. And I don't mean in the it's a slum kind of way. Watch your step if you gotta go there. Good advice. I've had enough of it for one lifetime already. Something off with the walled city's aura. Something in the astral. It's just sick there. Can't tell what. It's like all that misery and pain is just building on itself. Every misery empowers all the other miseries there. Let's say you couldn't pay me to go in there, but you probably could. I'm a sucker for a payday. Talk to you later, Illuminati. Keep safe, alright? You know where to find me. Seems alright. Calum Cafe. Better groomed than most of his kind, the young troll nonetheless ruins the effort with his own blatant drunkenness. His eyes are red and his expression foggy, but he otherwise appears to be high-functioning. Have a drink, friend. Have two. And maybe something else to chase, eh? Think you may have drunk it all. Why shouldn't I? It's my right. I'm a prince of Club 88. Chosen, you might say. Part of the family that owns this place. You are a shrewd one, friend. I am the heir apparent to my birthright. Peddle charms every sniffer passes through our gates. What do you say? Need something to pick you up or bring you down? Don't know what I might find around here. Not a hell of a lot. I suppose it depends what you're in the market for. I'm your man for chemistry. Ma offers an assortment of firearms in the back. Everything else here is just glitter and smoke. You're looking for tech laws, place sells all the techno baubles you could ask for. Just walk towards a giant blue hollow sign that gives everyone a headache. Out further on the same dock, Reliable Matthews, your basic used drone salesman. He's the only game in town for that sort of stuff. If
you're needing magical what's let's try the parlor of 5 phases. I haven't a clue about that stuff myself, but both places certainly smell legit from the street. Better off staying here though. I could set you up with an ampoule of something real smooth. Not right now, thanks. Yeah, let's go back. Said there are weapons out back, eh? Lovely. The older troll woman has a striking Amazonian quality. If she was younger, she must have really turned heads. Can I help you? I'm usually behind helping, but what can you offer? Guns or a swift kick out the door if you mess with me or mine. This is my family's place. Me, my husband, and our 2 boys. Now, do you have business with me? I got no time for window shoppers. What you got for sale? Firearms from all over the world, from Ares to Walther, and everything in between. You in the market? Yeah, let's take a look. Ain't seeing any rifles. There are not enough rifles here. There we go. Let's see. Ruger, yeah. G12A3. That's a possibility. Ooh, well, that one's armor piercing. That may be useful. That may be worth it. The Walther, possibly. Nah, it's a sniper. Snipers ain't my thing this playthrough. Let's go for either the HK or the FN. The HK is a little cheaper and does 1 more damage, but the FN pierces 2 armor, so if things come to that, it could be useful. That'd be 400, and yeah, it'd still be just a little bit short, but I think I'll come back here after I get my payday from that last job. Which I really should have done before I went and decided I was going to look at a weapons shop. How long have I been streaming? A little over an hour. Not too many problems, it seems. That's always nice. Let's see. And claim payment for the museum run. You submit the job is finished and await the response. A few moments later, a message pops onto the screen. From Mr. Drake to Bill III. Well done. You went above and beyond what I asked. Liberated some truly precious artifacts. I've attached the payment you're owed plus a little bonus. I trust that you'll keep quiet about what exactly was liberated from Lou's little museum. I'll collect the books from Kindly Cheng shortly. Nice. How much did that pay? Ooh, that paid a fair amount. Pending jobs. Check for new messages. 7 unread. Ooh. Name in Black's history. Duncan asked me to do some Duncan asked me to do some digging on my own into Raymond's history. I guess he doesn't trust Kindly Cheng to give him the full story. I can't say that I blame him since she'd hide things from us if it was in her best interest to do so. So I've been poking around various corners of the Matrix, trying to dig up what I can. Most sinners leave a data trail the size of an aircraft carrier in their wake. Working backward in time, Raymond starts out that way and slowly tapers away into nothingness. Sure, I can find some basic records in Seattle, power, utilities, a couple of public discussion sites he'd signed up for, but the further back I get, the less I find. And the craziest part is this: prior to 2032, I can't find anything at all. That shouldn't be possible. It's like Raymond didn't exist before then. I don't know, I'm gonna keep digging, but it'll take me a while. I'll let you know when I get some news worth sharing. About those dreams. Gobbet's face winks onto the screen. Her rats are perched precariously on her head, and she holds a laser pointer clutched between her thumb and forefinger. Hey, Seattle. Hope I didn't catch you at a bad time. She flicks the laser pointer, and her rat's heads swivel to the right to follow the motion. Why did I just say that? This is a recording. It doesn't matter if it's a bad time. Well, anyway, I was thinking about that talk that we had. You know, the dream talk? And the nightmares and stuff. Another flick of the pointer. The rats' heads turn left, their noses twitching. I got a friend here in town. She runs the Parlor of Five Phases. Sort of our local magic shop and talismonger. Name's Crafty. Flick. The rats' heads turn upwards and stare at the ceiling. Anyway, she's smart, really smart. Her mom was sort of a local authority on all things magical. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. If you wanted to ask anyone in town about these dreams, she'd be the right one to choose. She taps a button on the laser pointer with her thumb, and the little red dot in the tip goes dark. The rats immediately tackle one another, rolling off her head and falling out of sight. She gets up, her head rising out of the frame. Anyway, just thought it might help. If you've already been talking to Crafty, please disregard this message. Alright, I'm out. Peace. She punches a button, and the screen goes dark. Let's see, geomantic sabotage from Kindly Cheng. Geomancy is big business in the free enterprise zone. Here in Hong Kong, feng shui isn't just the act of rearranging your kitchen to make things look pretty. The fortunes of empires rise and fall with the ebb and flow of qi, and sometimes that flow needs a helping hand. Wujing Incorporated are the preeminent practitioners of large-scale key manipulation here in the free enterprise zone. They've gone to great lengths to channel key from all over Hong Kong into their headquarters, an enormous monstrosity that they call the Wujing Sky Tower. There, it is focused and transformed into good fortune through the building's geomantically attuned architecture and interior decoration. Our client believes that it is time for Wujing's good luck to run out. You are to infiltrate the Sky Tower and disrupt the flow of qi throughout the building, but you are to do so in two distinct fashions. First, you must disrupt the feng shui of the offices by subtly altering the environment of that level. This will consist of minor adjustments of desks, spilled water, and other small activities that are unlikely to be noticed. Ordinarily, even subtle disturbances of this nature would be noticed. This is why the client wishes you to make a much louder demonstration on the rooftop garden. The garden is to be ransacked, utterly destroyed. Set fire to things, uproot trees, that kind of thing. Our client has also specified that he would like you to destroy the large Buddhist statue in the garden, smash the thing to bits, and leave them scattered across the rooftop. This level of destruction will keep Wujing's geomancers busy long enough that the more subtle disruptions below will take effect. In addition, it will send the kind of message our client would like Wujing to hear. I have utmost faith in your ability to cause destruction. The more disruption you can cause on both levels of the Sky Tower, the happier the client will be. As you're not a spellcaster yourself, it may be wise to bring Gobbet along. She will be able to see the most effective ways to disrupt the key of the building. It's possible. attending a party. From Kindly Chang to Bill III, attending a party. Bill III, I need you to come to the parlor. A friend and business partner of mine, named Dr. Shen Yang, has need of your services. Something about attending a fancy party in Repulse Bay. He was unwilling to give me the details. I think he wanted to size you up for himself. Opportunity. Preface bypassed. Yo, come see me if you have a chance. I have a trade opportunity. Maximum. Maximum Law. Maximum Matrix Wampoa Integrated Hub. 01941-110UC13. Meet. Lost Technology Palace. Done is what happens when I rain the fire. Ultrathon Visigoth, Judge of Titan. Urgent task. From Kindly Chang to Bill III, urgent task. Little birds have been whispering in my ear about an urgent and high-paying run. Steelarm Lu, a red pole, managed to get his hands on information concerning a prototype laser weapon in development by Ares Asia Holdings. For years, the Yellow Lotus and the Red Dragon have been locked in a Cold War. Despite this, we remain evenly matched. Neither one of us can attack the other without being exposed to devastating reprisals. Lu wants to change this, and he has a plan. Rather than strike directly, Lu intends to aim external forces at the Red Dragon, specifically the Knight Errant. He intends to frame a white paper fan named Golden Fong. Make it appear that the Red Dragon have been bribing Ares researchers for classified data. Two leading drone and energy weapons researchers have recently transferred from London to Hong Kong and are running the project. Doctors Taylor and Hardingham were respected in Europe, but in Hong Kong they remain unknown quantities. They're untrusted and therefore are considered untrustworthy. Perfect targets, in other words. We will provide data that will make it look as if the researchers were contracted by Golden Fong and make quite a bit of money, but grew tired of the arrangement. Transfer the attached files to a data chip. The files are bundled with a worm program which will auto-execute when inserted into the appropriate systems. You need not bring a Decker, though one may be helpful. You will need to plant data in the visitor record systems, the camera system in Hardingham and Taylor's lab. Finance data is to be transferred to Dr. Taylor's personal terminal. That in and of itself will not be enough to ensure knight-errant involvement. However, planting the data is only the first part of your task. This is where a heavier touch will be required. DCP, I don't think I've run into any quote-unquote meat for a while. You will also need to steal the prototype laser weapon. There is a GPS tracking device attached to it which Lu will plant deep in Red Dragon territory. The apparent theft of a prototype weapon by a disgruntled Triad member should convince Ares to dispatch overwhelming force against the Red Dragon, dealing them a vicious blow. As a note, Lu does not care what becomes of the laser weapon. If you wish to sell it or keep it, feel free. Ooh. I have also attached a map of your extraction route from the building. During the facility's expansion in 2052, Ares Asia was forced to extend their foundations deeper into the island. They drove piles through the former site of the central NPR station, which partially collapsed during the Dalu Bay earthquake of 2044. Practically, this means you can exit through the basement directly onto the new MTR line through Central. With any luck, you can be gone without anyone knowing how. Unfortunately, this route is heavily alarmed, so you will be forced to go in the front door. If you can con the front desk, you should have no problems. The facility is both an office and a residence, so strange people coming and going at odd hours is not unusual. If you're not up to the task, however, be prepared to shoot your way in. Lu does not care if you are loud or quiet, but a word of caution. He came by all this information via the loose lips of one of the research team. Other fixers know of this job. Move fast and you are guaranteed success, but there are definitely other shadow runners with an eye on your prize. Restaurant job. One of the things I have learned over the years is that even the rich and powerful have annoyances, thorns in their side, if you will. No one is without troubles. The rich just have different ways of solving them. The client for this run has grown tired of one particular thorn in his side. Chung Sing Rooster Lo. Lo is a red pull for one of the smaller triads here in Hong Kong, the 289s, or the Easy Money Gang, if you prefer. Despite the 289's small stature, Lo's illegal activities have managed to damage the client's profits. Mr. Johnson would like you to help him show Lo the error of his ways. Lo takes an evening every few months to dine at the Shangri-La restaurant in Aberdeen. If you aren't aware, the Shangri-La is an elite establishment serving primarily corporate clientele from Wuxing Incorporated. Because of this, it's not unusual for diners to bring bodyguards or assistants with them. In Lo's case, he brings a particularly brutish enforcer known as the Talon, and undoubtedly feels well protected. You are going to show just how wrong he is in this regard. You are to kidnap Rooster Lo. So long as he is alive and in relatively good health, all options are on the table. While keeping the run quiet would make things easier for Mr. Johnson, no one will shed too many tears over a few dead triad thugs. The client has arranged an exit via boat. So long as you can get Lo from the interior of the restaurant's dock, the client will handle everything else. Despite being a red pole, Lo is a tactician, not a fighter. Don't expect him to put up much of a fight. The Talon, on the other hand, is as nasty as they come. Be careful about how you confront him, or things may go very bad. Let's see. Party, urgent task, restaurant job. Oh, wrong one. Did I had? Yep. Alright. I'm just gonna take a job, and then looks like the stream's kind of dying down right now, so that'll be about it. Let's go with... Which one was this? That one gets me a laser weapon, which might be fun. Take geomantic sabotage. Ooh, can I just take them all? Well, Steelarm Lu sends his regards and bids you good fortune and plentiful ammunition, the dramatic git. Don't die, Bill. Our arrangement has been very profitable so far, and I would hate to lose that. Right, I'll take those two. I will head off somewhere. I'll talk to my crew first. Then go get myself a new gun. Hey, Duncan. You enter Wu's cabin to find him moving through some sort of stretching routine. His muscles ripple as he flows tranquilly from one pose to the next. You look different, Henry. Do I? Yeah, like I flipped forward a few chapters instead of turning a page. I mean, you look like you, just not the you I knew. I get it. You're you too, just a lot leaner. Wu looks down at his torso, chuckles. Yeah, remember how Lockjaw used to make fun of my gut? He used to call me Dunkin' Donut. He smiles. His teeth are perfect. I guess I got tired of that whole running out of energy walking upstairs thing. Plus, I needed to slim down to get into the academy. Once I got off my ass and started exercising, really exercising, found out that I loved it. It's the focus, I guess. I don't have to think about anything. I don't have to talk to anyone. All I have to do is concentrate on my form and count my reps. And no matter what happens after that, I've started my day by accomplishing something. So what about you? How are you doing? Same as always. Yeah, I'm not convinced. You're different, Henry. You've grown, but you're good at running. You've grown, and you're good at running this crew, too. There's something I still don't completely understand. He picks up an ammo box and begins using it like a dumbbell. What do you get out of being a shadow runner? Yeah, freedom. Not a cog in the corporate machine. Sure you're not, he chuckles to himself. Come on, Henry, think. Of course you're a cog. Everyone's a cog. Whether you're working for them, consuming their crap, getting brainwashed by news media that they control, voting for the people that they put in front of you, or being policed by people that they own, you're a cog. You're the lowest kind of cog. A shadow runner. A disposable asset. Sinless. Slithering through the cracks of society, doing jobs that are too dirty for the corpse to do themselves. You don't appear on a corporate balance sheet. I call my own shots, take the jobs I want. From the Chinese menu that kindly Chang puts in front of us, yeah. And we can leave anytime we want, right? He gives you a lopsided grin. Forget it, doesn't matter. This is about finding out what happened to Raymond. Wu watches you, waiting for you to say something. You thinking about getting chromed? What'd you think of the last run? Oh man, you remember that Megatrid movie we snuck into that one time? The one where the mummy took over Chicago? Tarum Reborn. Yeah, it was an old favorite. He nods. That's the one. Completely freaked me out. Slept with the dumpster lid shut for a week. What a pleasure it was to go on a run that brought back such hideous memories. Still can't believe that you made a deal with that thing. I mean, it was a mummy, Henry. You don't make deals with mummies. He cradles his head in his hands. Fuck, I can't believe I just said that. I didn't know that Shadowrunners dealt with crap like that. Can't say I'm a fan, Henry. Not even one bit. Anyway, enough about that. Anything else you need? Want to talk about you and me? He rests his eyes on you for a moment. His face neutral. Yeah, I guess now's as good a time as any. You start. Seems like Carter's death hit you pretty hard. Wu continues stretching. Yeah, she was a good one. We were a real team. Joining Lone Star helped me in all sorts of important ways. No doubt about it. I really embraced being a cop. I studied my ass off. But no matter how hard I worked, I was never more than a model cop with a brutal streak. There were plenty of assignments that were perfect for a big, mean orc like me. Assignments that would have fed my need to hurt people. But I met Carter about a year in, and she changed things. She talked about values and goals and priorities and constructing the life that you want to live. She was a real trip. Sounds like a good woman. She was a cop, a partner, a mentor, and a serious badass when she needed to be. But yeah, she was a good person. She kept me focused. When Raymond asked me to meet him in Hong Kong, I had a feeling I was going to wind up off the reservation if I didn't bring Carter along. Now she's gone, and here I am. I say you honor her memory by showing her how much you learned. Wu's mouth drops open and then curves into a grin. He shakes his head, still smiling. I'm sorry, did Henry Williams just give me sage advice? Sounds like you did some growing up of your own. You're not acting like the Duncan Wu that I grew up with. What made you decide on becoming a cop? I needed structure. Bad. You know that better than anyone. I was already hardcore when we met, Mr. Ultraviolence. I'd do anything to get a rise out of the guys I was rolling with. Gouging eyes, inverting knees, curb stomping. That shit got me cheers. It was like a pit fighter, bloodletting for the crowd. And I learned to enjoy it. But I never learned how to block out the memories of their screams when I was lying in bed at night. The guilt started eating me alive. Then I was scared to be alone with my thoughts, so I tried to drown them with all the things that you drown things out with. Yeah, I remember you were pretty messed up when we met. He shakes his head sadly. Yeah, I was, but I got a lot better when we found a squat together. Even better later when we went to live with Ray. Still a violent son of a bitch, but basically under control. That was because of you, Bill. You were the voice of reason and the brains. Me, the brains. Don't pretend you weren't the leader. You know how it was. When we ran the streets together, I was the muscle and you called the shots. You pointed and I hit. Later, after Ray got me some counseling, I realized I let you call the shots so that I wouldn't have to. Because I knew what I wanted was wrong. By following your lead, I was deflecting my own guilt onto you. I could knock heads and walk away clean, you know? Don't look at me, I'm just doing what I'm told. Then you left. Without you there, I knew I was in serious trouble. The poster boy for anger management issues. Raymond could provide a stable environment, a decent therapist, and money for prescriptions. But, you know Raymond. He's an egghead engineer with a philanthropic streak, not a drill sergeant. And a drill sergeant's what I needed. I needed structure and discipline in a way that he couldn't offer me. I needed a cage to keep myself in line. So I found myself a cage made of rules and procedures and training. Lone Star. Raymond helped me with my application and provided a decent character reference. I got in and it helped a lot. Lone Star got me where I needed to be. Now it's all gone, and you're back. Been waiting a long time to ask me about the night I left, haven't you? Wu chuckles and hooks his thumbs in his belt. I guess I have, yeah. It's about what you were doing before you got thrown into that corp facility. You said you had a friend who was in a bind, but that was all you could say. How'd it go? Let's just say we're not friends anymore and leave it at that. Whatever you say, Henry. You ever think about when we were kids? He begins to move through some sort of pattern, maybe Tai Chi. I try not to. What are you talking about exactly? Squat in the Barrens on Leary Way. That least of all. We're not exactly talking about an idyllic youth here, Henry. Still, it was better than being on the streets, sleeping in dumpsters, running from ghouls, fighting over scraps. Wu stops moving, drifts off for a moment, and defending your territory. We hadn't found that place on Leary, found Lockjaw and Double Tray. Probably wouldn't be here. Why were you thinking about back then? Just thinking about that thing DT used to say. Wu returns to his patterns. He manipulates an imaginary soap bubble between his hands. Improvise, adapt, overcome. That's how you beat the street. I remember Double Tray saying that. It was while we were living between the red hot nukes and the 162s. Crazy ass dwarf anarchists on one side and flesh eating ghouls on the other. Those are the days that you long for? Long for? Nah. I was just thinking about that it's the same now as it was back then. His raspy baritone fills the space between you, bridges it. Survive and watch each other's backs. Yeah, I know. You thinking about getting chromed up? With cyber? He shakes his head. Oh my god, how many times are you gonna ask me that? Till you give me a satisfying answer. Wu grins. His teeth are blindingly white. I told you one time I was thinking about it when I was 13. Let it go. I'm not gonna pollute my body with that shit. You? Nah, not for me either. That's good. I've heard stories about people who went too far, lost some of themselves. Let's talk later. Yeah, later would be good. Don't get me wrong, catching up is nice, but I'm not used to being as social as this. It's one of the reasons why it was nice to work under Carter. We both appreciated long silences. Sorry, man. She seemed like good people. It's all good. She's gone. And I've accepted that. I guess it's been a big day is all. Anyway, good talk. I'll catch up with you later. Why does Duncan remind me so much of someone I used to know? Maybe the other way around. Isabel is jacked into the octopus. Her body sits inert, her breathing shallow. As you watch, an image blossoms onto the largest of the octopus's view screens. Hello down there, it's good to see you again. She smiles down at you from her monitor, her outline scintillating with blue-white light. She looks peaceful, at ease. Nice avatar, that's a good look on you. Isn't it? I spent months customizing this avatar. She feels more real to me than my own skin. Any thoughts about that last run? She shakes her head. Nope, sorry. Jacking into the octopus is how I relax after a long day of work. Some people go to sports bars or strip clubs. I do this. As a rule, I don't spoil my leisure time with shop talk. If that's the way you feel. It is, so if you wouldn't mind changing the subject. She lets the sentence hang. You'll feel at home in the Matrix, don't you? Look happy in there. I suppose that I am. It's a comfortable thing. As long as I'm jacked in, I can be who I want to be. Whatever I want to be. Out there in meat space, I usually feel uncomfortable in my own skin. The avatar offers you a lopsided smile. I'd probably just live here if I could. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Yeah, it'll never happen. I know. Of course, I was joking. But truth be told, I do spend most of my time out there wishing that I was back in here. If you were a Decker, you'd feel the same. It's hard to live in a cage of meat when you know how sweet it feels to leave your body behind. She pauses for a moment, considering. Then her avatar shimmers forward, filling the screen. A slight frown crosses her face. You know, Bill, I've been wondering about the question you asked me a little while back, the one about the walled city. The avatar flickers. The one that I dodged. Hey, you don't have to make a big deal about it. You don't have to make a big thing about it, Isabel. It's fine. It isn't, though. Not really. I cheated you out of an answer that I owed you. For what it's worth, I wasn't trying to do that. It's just that talking about the walled city is problematic for me. I understand. I grew up in the Barrens. I know how hard it can be to talk about this stuff. No, it isn't that. I'm not explaining myself correctly. It isn't that I'm tortured by bad memories or anything like that. The problem is that I can't remember my childhood. The walled city, that entire chapter of my life is nothing but a blur to me. I can give you general information about life on the inside, but the specifics of my own experience are gone. Gone? You mean gone? You have amnesia or something? Something like that. The avatar fidgets on the screen. There were a variety of factors in play. The upshot of all this is that there are things that I can tell you about, but only a few, and only in bold strokes. Don't expect any personal stories. I couldn't share them even if I wanted to. So if that's okay with you, if you'll be satisfied with trivia and urban legends, we can talk. Just say the word. Otherwise, well, at least you know why. How'd you lose him? The Isabel avatar frowns. I'd rather not go into it. It's personal. Suffice it to say, I've never missed them. At least not until now. If you don't want to talk, if you ever want to talk about it, I'm a good listener. She looks away. Great. I'll keep that in mind. Give me what you can about the walled city. At this point, anything would help. Alright. The avatar licks its lips. Yeah, licks its lips. Nods. I can do that. Isabel's avatar turns, begins to pace on the screen. Where she steps, spiderwebs of light spread across the tiled ground of the octopus's sculptured matrix hub. When I think of the walled city, the thing that stands out the most in my mind is the legends, the mythology of the place. If I hadn't lived with them, I might have found those stories fascinating. The scintillating figure turns to you in the screen. Did you know that Kowloon Walled City is supposed to be cursed? That's what the locals believe. We had ghost stories and everything. You believe that slum was cursed? The Isabel avatar nods. Everyone did. The locals were convinced that the slum had been poisoned forever by things that haunted it. Demons from another place. The Yama Kings. Tell me what you can about these things. It'd probably be easiest to think of them like urban legends. Our own little pantheon of monsters and morality tales to frighten ourselves with at night. The stories are still clear in my mind, even after everything that's happened. Everyone in the walled city believed them. You can get out of the walled city if you make a deal with Fu Man. Cut the hearts out of the 44 people closest to you and bring them to him. He will reward you with riches. Don't go under that arc or Qian Ya will catch you. The avatar grabs at the air, its hands leaving glowing trails as they move. She'll rip out your teeth, tie your tongue in a knot, and make you her slave for eternity. We had Qi Xiang, our own homegrown judge of souls. People would let themselves be flayed alive in hopes that he'd reawaken them in a better life. We had Lam Vai, the Ebony Queen, who'd teach you to hide so well that you'd slowly mutate into a cockroach. The avatar cocks its head, smirking. A dismissive gesture. It's all bullshit, of course, but everyone in the walled city believed it. Believed it. If everyone believed in these things, maybe they're real. I mean, I wouldn't write the stories off so easily. Magic is real, Isabel. Of course it is. I know it is. I know that, but the Yama Kings can't be real. If they were, the body count in the walled city would be a lot higher. The Yama Kings are glorified kids' stories. They're make-believe. A fiction that my parents and neighbors had invented to excuse their own actions. I can't get ahead because demons are keeping me down. Woe is me, woe is me. It's almost embarrassingly transparent when you look at it. Lam Vai turned people into cockroaches? It's a Kafkaesque trope layered in a morality tale. Qi Xiang, he's just a Nubis with a different coat of paint. And you know that archway that I mentioned, the one that Qiang Ya was supposed to haunt? I knew someone who found it. It was nothing on the other side but concrete. It's all superstitious drivel. It's all superstitious drivel, Bill. The misery in the walled city isn't the fault of demons or devils. We created it, and we perpetuate it. We blamed made-up monsters for our own failings. There's nothing more poetic than that. What about the shared dreams? I don't know. Mass psychosis. Maybe something magical's going on. But it isn't them. They aren't real. They can't be. Anyway, that's enough for now, huh? I'm sure that gives you plenty to chew on. My obligation to give you an answer is satisfied, I think. So let's talk about something else. Gotta go, Isabel. Sure, drop by any time. And Gobbet. Gobbet looks up from the dented tin of oysters at the sound of your approach. Her rats, madness and folly, scurry from her hips to her shoulders. Two sets of beady red eyes fix themselves upon you. Hey, Seattle, oyster? She spears a gray lump of seafood with a fingernail, extends it towards you. Smells like low tide at a municipal pier. Sure, why not? You pop the rubbery wad of flesh into your mouth and chew. An explosion of lukewarm brine is your reward. Good, right? Half-repressed memories of dumpster diving in the Barrens dance a merry jig in your brain as the mangled oyster slides down your throat. I've eaten worse. Exactly right. May not be fine dining, but it's seafood, and it isn't made of soy. Makes it good in my book. She tilts back the tin, drains the remaining juice, and then flicks it into the overflowing bin at her side. So, what can I get you? Any thoughts on that last run? Gobbet positively vibrates with excitement, clapping her hands together with a huge grin. That was awesome! Think about it. We broke into some rich jerk's manor house, stole his artifacts so they could go to a museum, and we fought mummies. If that was not the plot of a Trid blockbuster, I don't know what is. I'm not sure what I think about that mummy's trinket. Never had a dead person owe me a favor before. Not even sure how that works. Be careful when you use that trinket. As long as he does what we tell him to, that's pretty awesome. But if the Trids taught me anything, it's that mummies are always waiting for an excuse to run around cursing everybody. So, what else did you want to chat about? Said you'd teach me to be a better Shadowrunner. I'm here to collect. Still remember that, do you? Huh. I just sort of assumed that you'd laugh it off. No dice, wizened mentor. You offered, now pay up. She straightens. Okay. How about this? I'll tell you a story about a run gone bad. You tell me what you'd have done in the runner's place. Then we'll compare notes on your answer. How's that sound? You tell me. You're the teacher here, remember? Right. It sounds good. Of course it does. So, that's what we'll do. She sweeps a tangled rope of hair out of her eyes and back over one pointed ear. After a moment of silent contemplation, she bites her lip and nods. Okay, so this is a story from early in my career. I was part of a team here in HK, but I did some occasional moonlighting for another group based out of Macau. I was a busy kid. Early in your career. Anyone I might know? Not unless you can talk to dead people. She pauses, raises an eyebrow. That was a spoiler, by the way. The run didn't end well. Anyway, the job was a hit on this tower. Sort of a trid multiplex / apartment complex. I'm sure that you've got them in Seattle, too. You know the kind. 7 huge screens, monster concession stand, coffin apartments on top like barnacles on a whale. I used to go to one back in Seattle. Best way to watch urban brawl. Lived in one for a while. Every time they showed an action movie, the walls would shake. She nods. Yeah, that'll happen. Our client wanted us to break into one of the apartments. The story was that an ex of hers, a guy named Boggs, lived there. She'd been cooped up with him until about a week prior. Then things went sour in a big way. She wanted us to get back some things that Boggs kept when he kicked her out. Scare the shit out of him, bloody him up a bit, make it look like a robbery. You know the drill. Pulled a few jobs like that myself when I lived in the Barrens. It was a pretty bush league gig, but the pay was decent enough. Not the sort of thing you'd turn down. So anyway, Sibilance, that was our group leader, had a plan. We knew that we had to go in quiet because the Metroplex had a panic system wired directly to the HKPF. If we'd gone in shooting, we'd have been drowning in cops within 10 minutes. Sib thought that we could maybe take advantage of the apartment's terrible soundproofing and kick in Boggs' door when the movie got loud. We'd camp out near his doorway, wait for the ceiling to start raining plaster, and smash our way in with his neighbors none the wiser. Doesn't sound like a bad plan. Yeah, there's no way that'd work. I don't know, it might have, if things had gone different. But it's what we did, so pipe down and let me tell you the rest of the story. So we waited in the hall, just like Sibilance planned. We had a guy in the elevator, another at the stairs. I was waiting by the floor's communal kitchen. Sib took up a position by the door. She had these cyber legs that she dumped a ton of new yen into. Hydraulic jacks, strength enhancements, the works. Girl could probably leg press a dump truck. She pauses for a moment. Come to think of it, most of her plans involved kicking things. Something a little sad about that. Hey, if that was her thing, I wouldn't question it. Yeah, you're very supportive. Me, I'd have preferred to work for someone who thought with her head instead of her robot legs. Anyway, we heard a boom from downstairs, felt the walls shake with the reverb. She wheeled back and gave the door a massive kick, just like she'd planned. From where I was standing, I couldn't really see what happened next. Could hear a massive crack as her boot slammed into Duraplast. The door flew off its hinges, exploded off, might be a more accurate phrase. A second later, we heard an ungodly crash. Hey, Tlimi. It's been a pretty quiet night here. There was a moment of silence, then Sib let out this little gasp. The apartment was in shambles, looked like a hurricane had hit it. Everything was trashed. Everything but the door, which was miraculously still in one piece. Remember that this was a coffin apartment. Wasn't much wider than the door to begin with. And Boggs, well, what was left of him was under the door too. That didn't turn out well. Yeah, it wasn't good. Boggs was dead, and the stuff that we'd been sent there to recover had been smashed to bits, and then the building alarm went off. So that's the situation. Our payday is smashed, my temporary teammates are all standing around with stupid looks on their faces. The cops are coming, I'm standing by the kitchen. She plants her hands on her hips, smiling. What would you have done in my place? Let's see. Blackmail material. Certainly. Yeah, blackmail material. She nods thoughtfully. Fair. That isn't what I did, but don't think that it didn't cross my mind. So what did you do? First thing that popped into my head. That's a lesson to remember, Seattle. First answer that you come up with is almost always the best one you're going to have, so just roll with it. Don't second guess yourself, don't hesitate, just act. You'll live longer that way. As for what I did that night, well, I was standing by the kitchen, remember? I could have cut and run. I looked like any other street kid. I'd have blended in. But instead, I decided to stay and help my team. When I think crowded theater, I think place where you can't shout fire because it'll cause a panic. And then I thought cops don't charge into burning buildings, they help people get out of them. And as it happened, I had the means to create a real, genuine fire sitting right across from me. A pair of industrial ovens. Makes sense to me, I guess. Right? It was clearly the best option available. I opened the gas vents wide, set the range on a timer, and motored back into the hallway. The others had started arguing amongst themselves. I told them to snap out of it and follow me down the hallway. We have to clear the hallway before an errant spark takes the whole floor out, I said. Sounded pretty reasonable to me. Unfortunately, the rest of the team wouldn't listen, and the rest of the team were, Sib and the rest of the team were too busy arguing about the relative merits of her let's kick things really hard and see what happens tactical system to want anything to do with me. I shouted back to them that the kitchen was going to explode and continued down the hallway. Just like I'd planned, I got out of that run in one piece. So did every single one of the people in that multiplex. My fire plan worked beautifully. If the rest of my team had listened to me, they might have gotten out of the building. Or they might have gotten out of the building too. Kind of a bummer that they didn't, but at least the run turned out well for me. How? Well, I couldn't collect any pay because the run had been a disaster, but the explosion I got to ride in front of. But after the explosion, I got to ride in front of a fire truck, and they gave me cookies and a blanket. Wound up dating one of those firemen a few weeks later. All things considered, I could have gone a lot worse. Gobbet claps her hands together and rubs them, a satisfied look on her face. So, Seattle. The laughter disappears from her voice, and her expression goes serious. It's like somebody flipped a switch. Suddenly, the look in her eyes is shrewd, calculating. Tell me, what was the moral of the story? What lessons was I trying to convey? Yeah, Gobbet is great. I'm debating between go with your gut or don't go on shadow runs with idiots. Because they were idiots. My personal moral is listen when one of your teammates tells you shit's about to hit the fan. So yeah, don't go on shadow runs with idiots. Ha, funny guy. Well, that is a lesson, maybe even a valuable one. It isn't what I was trying to convey. Now pay attention because this is important. What I was trying to teach you is that you should trust your impulses. When a run has gone south and you need to improvise, don't overthink it. She scratches Folly behind the ears. Once you've committed to doing something, you gotta follow through it. Or you gotta follow it through. No arguing or hand-wringing, just do it. If you get caught up in your own head, agonizing over past mistakes, well, don't be surprised if you end up dead. A kitchen fire can take you down as easily as a cop's bullet if you stand around and let it. You're certain that they're all dead? She shrugs. They weren't with me when I got evacuated with the rest of the moviegoers. I never saw them leave the building, and I haven't heard from them since. I guess it's possible that someone made it, but don't really run in those circles anymore. Odds are good that if anyone from the Macau team did survive, they'll have died off by now from sheer incompetence. Shadowrunning is an unforgiving business. You don't get to make too many mistakes. How do you like life here on the Bolt Hole? It's fine, shaping up. Having new roomies is always nice. She smiles. How are you enjoying your cabin? Comfy enough for you? It isn't half bad. Better than some of the places I squatted in back in the Barrens. I've heard stories about the Redmond Barrens. Sounds like a real winner of a place. Kowloon isn't any better, of course, but at least our little slice of home is safer. Yeah. That's true. It's handy having a mob boss on our side. Yeah, handy. Auntie Cheng is definitely that. She half frowns. Don't know if I'd say if she's on our side, though. Yeah, I know what you mean. Of course you do. Let's change the subject. I'd rather not think about that old woman right now. Did any of the stuff in that story actually happen, or just make it up for my benefit? Seattle, I'm hurt. It all went down exactly like I said it did. She pauses. Well, except for a couple of embellishments here and there. They make it a better story. Artistic license and all that. Gobbet leans back and stifles a yawn. Madness and folly dart up to her left shoulder and lock their beady eyes on you. Hate to break it to you, kiddo, but I'm beat. It's been a long day. Lesson's over now. We'll pick it up next time. Why sure you're calling kiddo? I'm older than you are. Yeah, whatever. She makes a brushing motion with her fingers. Scurry along now. Your mentor needs a rest. Gobbet is fucking great. Let's see if Gaichu or... damn it, I remember his drone's name, but not his... Ractor. My friend, is there anything that I would like... Yeah, there's something that I would like to discuss with you. Something related to the Ares run that you recently accepted. There are men, former colleagues of mine, at that facility. I tracked them here from Russia. They are thieves. They stole my research, and I would very much like it back. Serendipitously, I now find myself in the position to recover what is mine, and to visit justice upon the villains who stole it. But if I am to do that, I will need your help. In short, my friend, I need you to bring me along on this job. Of course. You'll be the first man on the train when we head out. Thank you, my friend. You will not regret this decision. I guarantee it. Let's see, Gaichu. The cabin is in a far better state than it was previously. The heat has been adjusted down, and the ventilation restored. The boxes of junk and parts have been stacked and neatly arranged, and Gaichu's small amount of personal gear is tucked away in a corner. There's a small mat in the center of the cabin that looks like it doubles as both a rug and a sleeping pad. Gaichu is seated in the lotus position, eyes closed. His fingertips rest on a braille reader that is plugged into his PDA. The device fills the room with a soft clicking from its pin combinations. As you approach, he lifts his hand from the reader's surface. Hello again, Bill the Third. Is there something that I can help you with? Looks like you carved out a nice little spot here, if you say so. I doubt it would be suitable for others, but I do not require much by way of space and have few possessions. So long as I have a quiet area in which I can sit and relax, I am happy. Now, what is it that you wish to discuss? Any thoughts on the last run? I am not certain what insight I could grant you. I was not present for the mission, so my understanding of it is purely second-hand. What were you reading? Gaichu draws himself up. Folding his palms in his lap, with one toe, he pushes the braille reader away. It is called Hagakure, Hidden Leaves. written by Yamamoto Tsunetomo, as a treatise on what it means to be a samurai, and how one should best serve one's lord. Required reading for the Red Samurai, unsurprisingly. Reliving old memories. Not so much old memories as old lessons. Gaichu smiles sharply, running a claw across the line of his jaw. I have many scars to remember my mistakes by, and each one seems to evoke a passage from the book. The author has a central thesis. When there is a question of life or death, always choose death. Throw oneself into the fray with no resignations, and act on instinct alone. My current state of affairs speaks the truth of this more robustly than any lesson in a dojo. Doesn't sound too different from life in the Redmond Barrens. Truly? Gaichu considers this, leaning over to rest his arm on one's knee. I have fought a few Shadowrunners in my time, and I admit, they have always proven more tenacious opponents than corporate soldiers have. When you've got nothing left to lose, you're the most dangerous. And this is why I am unconcerned with appearing dangerous. I appear dangerous because I am. What is left for me to lose but my life? Tsunetomo believed that to truly embody the virtues of a samurai, adherents should be mindful of their path at all times, never stop training, always question how one's actions reflect on their lord. Above all, be prepared to do your duty instinctively at any time, no matter what the cost. Sounds like a dangerous path to walk. That sounds like a dangerous path to walk. I am certain it is. But what choice do I have? Without a cure for my condition, all that I am able to do is embrace the reality of what I have become. It does not seem like much of a choice at all to me. What does he say about masterless samurai like you? 7 times down, 8 times up. Gaichu smiles thinly, wrapping a claw on the hilt of his sword. More specifically, if a samurai has not been a ronin at least 7 times, then he has not truly lived as a samurai. Those were different times, however. It was common for samurai to fall out of favor with their lord and be turned loose to wander. For company men like myself, the choice is serve or die. Is there anything else you would like to discuss? We were talking about your father bailing you out of jail. Ah, yes, I do recall you asking about that. Gaichu's reticence is palpable in the long silence that follows. He does not continue. If you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to. Gaichu sighs heavily, nodding. I have given you my word, and I intend to keep it. Do not be concerned. I simply have not spoken of my family in a long time. Bad memories? No. Quite good ones, actually. I haven't seen Yasujiro in many years, but that is my fault. We may not have seen eye to eye when I was young, but we came to an understanding. Eventually. Yasujiro gave me an ultimatum after my run-in with Shiawase security. He told me that he had to cut a backroom deal with a rival in Shiawase to keep me out of prison. The charges would be suspended if I finished high school and studied at Kyoto University with the intent of joining Renraku. If I did not, Shiawase would take me into custody and I would spend time in prison. What did that cost him? I have no idea. He refused to reveal what he had been forced to do in exchange, but I cannot imagine it was cheap. Insider information, perhaps. A deliberately botched contact? Yasujiro was a manager in the water and power division, so the deal would have been lucrative but not secret. I had always taken my family for granted. Raised in a Renraku family, going to Renraku schools, I always had a sense of place, of belonging where I was. The thought of all that vanishing, I simply could not imagine it. Suddenly, the reality of my actions became clear. Gaichu runs his finger over his bald scalp, smiling distantly. From then on, I tried to be the son he wanted, and he seemed glad of it. We grew much closer over the next few years. He took time off to visit me when I was living in Kyoto. See you later, DCP. I'm probably going to wrap this up soon anyway. Why would that be unusual? He was a very busy man. In those days, a lot of responsibility and very little time for himself. I was impressed that he could carve off as much time as he did just to go camping with his son. A lot of wilderness in that part of Japan, I bet. Very much so. The land around Kyoto is protected from development due to historical and cultural significance. Most of the mountains are considered sacred, so the Diet declared them a national preserve. We made several trips to the area between Kyoto and Nara. Out of the village of Ide, we camped in the mountains above it. We would hunt wild deer and boar there using my family's antique arquebus. That's a strange choice of weapon. It is a choice of expediency. It is nearly impossible for a private citizen to own a firearm in Japan, which is why you may so often read of Yakuza attacks involving swords and cleavers. As the Tanegashima that my family owns is from the 18th century, it is exempt from ordinary regulations. Gaichu chuckles softly to himself. Perhaps ironically, hunting with my father is how I learned to prepare raw meat. Strange to think that such activities served as training for my current state of affairs. So what's the process? How do you prepare it? Soak the meat in brined water and simmer it at a low heat for several hours. Let it cool and repeat the process over several days. It cannot get too hot or I am unable to eat it. This process brings out the collagen in the meat. When it is done, I spice it with ginger and sancho pepper. Again, not too much. Mundane food is anathema to me. Sighing happily, Gaichu stares off into the distance. When he looks back, he smiles broadly at you. Those were good days. I am sorry I cannot go back to those times. When one joins the Red Samurai, one must give up all attachments of one's previous life. The company, the code, and the unit become the entirety of your world. Even your family ties have to be cut? Especially those. Anything that could distract you from a mission must be purged. Commitment to the unit and to the company must be total. Applicants must be human, Japanese, and utterly devoted to Renraku. Your unit becomes your family. Your commander is your father and mother. Your teammates your siblings. Red Samurai are not allowed to reveal our identities and position to anyone outside the Special Operations team. Even if we wanted friends outside the unit, we could not have them. How'd you end up joining the Renraku military? Ah, a fair question. Given my youthful indiscretions, Gaichu leans back, his eyes turned towards the ceiling. Are you familiar with the Kenpai Tai? No, what's that? The Kenpai Tai are the political arm of the Japanese military, much like the commissars of the Soviet Union. They are responsible for enforcing political and social orthodoxy. Soviet Japanese. That is oddly fascinating. It is not just within the army, mind you. They also enforce certain laws with regards to the general populace. When I was enrolled at Kyoto University, I studied global security and political science. It is the major generally used as a gateway to private security postings with both government and corporate militaries. I knew I wanted to fight. I was a young man and my blood was always up. One of the requirements was that suities join the Youth Brigade Kempeitai. The Youth Brigade is a bit like the ROTC in North America, the Young Falcons in the Sioux Nation, or the District Officer Program in the Republic of Korea. Members learn to be soldiers without actually joining an army. They perform community service and promote civic pride. Performance and prestige in the Kempeitai used to dictate later job opportunities. A bit like a good internship. Seems like the kind of thing Renraku would look favorably upon. When I was in school, the megacorporations looked favorably on youth brigade service. At the time, the interests of the Emperor and the corporations were aligned. A grand drive to return Japanese industry to the forefront of the world economy. Good marks from your youth brigade commander were a sure sign that you would be offered a good position with corporate security. And I wanted to be the best. These days, the megacorporations have begun to resist that kind of nationalism in favor of corporate pride. Youth brigade service is becoming a black mark rather than a positive. Gaichu shifts, resting his elbows on his knees as he leans forward. I do not know if the alternative is any better, though. When I was nearing graduation, I was approached by a recruiter with Renraku Security. She told me I came from a good family and could have a promising career with the company. She offered to fast-track my application towards a potential Red Samurai position. 3 years with a Renraku military as a junior officer, and guaranteed placement in a Red Samurai training billet of my choosing. The pay was good, and the excitement of being an elite was an attractive proposition. I accepted, but I did not truly understand what I was signing up for. As I told you before, they force you to give up anything except the company and unit. That was made clear to me, but I did not truly understand it. Did you regret your decision? On the whole, no. I do not know who I would have been had I not joined. Perhaps there are things that I miss, but regret is perpetual. One is always tempted to ask, what if? But that is a trap. Gaichu wraps 2 knuckles on his breastplate. This is who I became. The armor was my protection and my identity. The training was extremely difficult, both mentally and physically. I knew that I would be isolated from my old life, but I did not anticipate the full extent of that isolation. The Red Samurai recruits report to a facility called the Forge in Chiba. You are assigned a unit, you and 4 other recruits. And for the next 2 years, the Forge will be your home and prison. Shaking his head wistfully, Gaichu snorts. It seems ridiculous in retrospect. We were all so young. None of us had any idea what we were doing, except trying to become the best soldiers in the world. And yet those strangers became my new family, in the absence of the old. Tell me about the members of your unit. Gaichu wrinkles his nose as if smelling something foul. That chapter of my life is over and done with, and they are no longer a part of my world. Why would you care about that? You said they became your surrogate family. That's important. You make a wise point. Commanders should know their soldiers well as they know themselves. Very well. Gaichu looks down at his hands, picking something out from behind one claw. He continues to look at his hand while he speaks. When I was younger, I would have more readily cut off my fingers than tell you what you ask. You must understand that secrecy is absolute among the Red Samurai. Your identity becomes secret, erased from any database that may connect to your Red Samurai. You only use your code name when in the field, and your given name is known only to your commanders and your unit. Even other Red Samurai units have no idea who you really are. You know what? I think I'm gonna do a Fallout Ghoul voice for him. It's taken me a while to decide. Give me a moment. Okay. Finally, looking up from his hands, Gaichu leans back against the boxes. Contact with the outside world is cut off. Cut off completely. Even once training is over, your communications are restricted. Maintaining relationships outside of those you work with is frowned upon. It's a lot of stress. What if a recruit can't handle it? Very few recruits get to this point if they cannot handle it. We all underwent stringent psychological... No, I can't maintain it right now. Maybe with a drink. We all underwent stringent psychological tests prior to this point. If a recruit can't handle it, I can't keep it up tonight. Can't handle it. He and the rest of his unit are failed out of the program. The rationale is simple. Well, they do describe him as having a rasping voice, and he's intelligent, but basically has the whole... He basically does have a voice like a Fallout Ghoul, because he's infected with a virus. Basically a Fallout Ghoul with a Japanese accent. The rationale is simple. If the recruit cannot take the training, and his unit cannot carry him through, they have all failed. Ishida was our commander. He came from a rich family in Saitama. And the kind of family where he was given every advantage possible, with the expectation that he would keep the family name prestigious. He was older than the rest of us, and he's already spent 6 years in the army, a very severe man, rarely given to humor. Takagawa was usually the second in command. As our designated marksman, he tended to have a better tactical view of how an operation should be run, simply because he needed to study the terrain more. He loved to get us laughing. Without him, I think I would have gone crazy in the first few months. Our mage's name was Sasaki. She had been in training as a Miko, an apprentice priestess, when her magic began to manifest. She was in the unit for the challenge and for the money. Her family had always been poor, and they had always taught her she would never amount to anything. I think she had joined the Red Samurai just to prove to them that she could do anything she wanted. My kind of attitude, I admit. Gaichu cocks his attitude, I admit. I am unsurprised to hear it. You and Sasaki share similar attitudes. Neither of you stops to consider if your goals are attainable. You simply know that they are. Our heavy gunner's name was Aomori. He kept the team honest with itself. He never had a disparaging word for anyone, but would not hesitate to call someone out for their behavior. Sasaki loved that about him. Really, she loved all of him. The two were discreet, but discretion only goes so far in such a small team. Still, we respected their privacy where responsible. Is that kind of thing allowed? The unit commander allows it, yes. We were given incredibly wide leeway in what to allow or forbid in our unit. The belief being that results were the only thing that mattered. If the unit failed, it would fail as a whole. Sasaki and Aomori were crazy about each other, and it would have done more harm to keep them apart. Lastly, there was me. I was the close quarters and breaching expert. My kind of tactics. That and heavy gunner. The first man in the door when we had to clear a room. I was the perfectionist on the team. Aomori could get us to do anything, but I was the one who made certain we did it well, with style. How do you mean? If a thing is worth doing, it is worth doing well. If that thing is also your duty, it is worth doing perfectly. Many times, we would perform a drill or exercise well enough, but that was not good enough if I had to trust my life to it. That was why we became one of the best teams in the organization's history. That's a thing to be proud of. Of course it is. Do you think I do not know that? Gaichu sighs heavily. I apologize. It is just that those feelings are still raw sometimes. Even if I were to be cured, I could never go back. They have been disgraced, and I have done unforgivable things. I have been cast out for good. Are you sure? Maybe it's not as final as you think. Gaichu closed his eyes, sighing through his nose. When they ambushed me in Fukuoka, it was fight or die. I killed 2 of them before I escaped. I will not be returning to the unit, no matter what. He opens his eyes after a moment, shoulders slumping. It is not an easy memory to grapple with. That's fine, Gaichu. Take your time. Thank you, Bill III. I am sorry I cannot talk about it now, but I need time to process the emotions. They are still raw. I am tired. Come back later, and we can talk more. I like him. Gaichu is good people. He is absolutely good people. Let's check the keywords. Thread misconnections. You rappelling down the side of an unarmed luxury hotel in a ball gown on Monday night. Me admiring the view from the 28th floor urinals during a private soiree for an unarmed corporation that I was infiltrating. Our eyes met briefly before you dropped out of sight. Your long dark hair had come loose from your chignon. Framing your beautiful flushed face, I will never forget it. You were carrying a duffel bag bulging with stolen prototype weaponry. Well, I filched the intel that goes with it. Can we connect? Very funny, Blackjack. I'm sorry the job went sideways. I got trapped and had one way out. We were supposed to have each other's backs. Just wait till you hear the way out that I had to take. We gotta stay low for now. And why are we posting about this on a public message board? Excellent. I need to read more of the random flavor text. I really need to read more of the random flavor text, but I think I need to call it a night soon. Time to go back and get myself a new gun. No, sailors. More flavor text. Potentially temporary flavor text. 3 people, possibly locals, are busily hunched over, avidly discussing something beneath their breaths. From the looks of them, they appear to be sailors, rough-hewn clothes stained by salt, leathery skin, and an acute awareness of being on land. You watch their feet shuffle throughout the docks. Their whispers are just within earshot. Now, I asked Crafty, and she said the same. Them dreams is bad. Think we'll lose them at sea? We're supposed to set out soon to make that delivery. What if they don't follow? What if they follow us? I don't think so. Crafty said these things is just affecting right here for now. The first sailor points to the ground. Soon as we all sail, the dreams'll stop. Hey! The third sailor sees you and taps her friends on the arms. They shoot upright. One examines his fingernails, another coughs loudly and begins to hum, and the last pretends she didn't see you. But when they sense your continued stare, the third speaks up. What are you looking at, Landy? Didn't mean to interrupt. See you around. Yeah. Don't seem to have any information that I'm interested in. You got anything else for me to say, Rosario? I'm definitely gonna stop back and hang out with her again. She seems cool. She seems good. Right, that gun. It's... Doesn't take a Shadowrunner's eye to tell who runs it. Yeah, I already talked to her. Didn't catch yours either. I'm Bill. Ermine Cafe. Pleased to meet you. What a lot of passers through after their business with the Dockman or the Yellow Lotus. See you later, Talimi. Yeah, it really is time for me to go. Everyone's going to bed. Even Australia is going to sleep. After their business with the Docksman or the Yellow Lotus, they get escorted here to relax. Then they leave. I'm happy to never know their names, but you're a different story, aren't you? What have you heard? Not much, yet. I need some sellables. Sell my old gun, and... So that's strength plus 2, and that's strength plus 1. Yeah. I think the shot glove is a little better. Yeah, the shot glove is a little better. And I will take... Oh, hey Nikolai. Wow, just as Australia goes to sleep. Armed more damage or armor negation. Let's go with armor negation. And any better unarmed weapons? Nah, she doesn't deal in unarmed weapons. Consumables. Grenades. Lovely things. It's the cheapest grenade on offer. Machete. Yeah. They're okay. They do enough damage. Phosphorus grenade. Ooh, fun. I'm feeling like a hero. I'll buy a couple of frags. And a phosphorus. How's armor? Best they've got is the Ares operative gear. What am I wearing? I'm wearing that suit. Armor 4. Yeah. This seems about right. I will put the bliss back in my stash and snag the other grenade, and snag that phosphorus grenade. A phosphorus and a flechette. 2 more armor might be a good thing. Can I afford it? I can. And I'm only really buying stuff for myself. Fuck it. All right. time for me to head out on that job. Which job is this? Let's see. Travel to Wuzhong Tower to commit geomantic sabotage, or head to the Ares facility to incite a conflict between Knight Errant and Red Dragon. Let's hit the Ares facility. Or let me double check. Was that the one where they recommended bringing a Decker? I believe it was. Rigger, Decker. Fuck it. I kind of want to bring. I kind of want to bring Gaishu, but we've got close combat covered, so I'm bringing Galbit. Yes. All right. And as we board the train and head out, and a loading screen comes up with a lovely refresher for next time, I will bid everyone good night. The one person in chat, Nikolai, and whoever happens to be watching this in the future. See everyone later.